Point 7 again, only in this way can the believer not become distracted with the things seen. Point 8, to be able to see the one who is invisible to the point of having the capacity of focusing on the things not seen instead of the things seen means that the believer has a personal sense of destiny. What? Point 8, to be able to see the one who is invisible to the point, all the way to the point of having the capacity of focusing on the things not seen instead of the things seen, means that the believer has a personal sense of destiny. And I told you verse 18 of our passage of our chapter is another synonym for the personal sense of destiny. Let me explain to you through drawings. To be able to see hora'o, the one who is not seen, the invisible one, means to the point of being able to focus on the ta me blepomena over the ta blepomena means that you have a personal sense of destiny. And this is difficult. You might say at this moment, I could easily focus on the ta me blepomena over the ta blepomena, if anyone can understand you. But it's sometimes we delude ourselves and we think we can. But there's always those things that distract us, the ta blepomena. Personal sense of destiny. And here I am messing it up. Of destiny. This is much more beautiful than whatever I'm writing it. So to be able to focus on the one invisible one, to hora'o, the auratos, to the point that you can focus on the ta me blepomena over the ta blepomena means that you have the evidence of the construction of a personal sense of destiny. Okay. Point 9. A personal sense of destiny will advance the believer to the point of maturity and thereby receive the things not seen. So, if you have a personal sense of destiny, means that you can look at the one who's invisible. If you can look at the one who's invisible, you could easily focus on the ta me blepomena, the things not seen, his promises, and heeding to his warnings that have not yet occurred. You can focus on those things over the ta blepomena, the things seen. Point 10. To fail to focus on the things not seen and to fail to de-emphasize the things seen, obviously these are coterminous actions. If you fail to focus on the things not seen, you're obviously going to focus on the things seen more. So again, to fail to focus on the things not seen and de-emphasize the things seen is to emphasize the things seen over the things not seen. There are coterminous action. If you emphasize ta blepomena, you're going to de-emphasize the ta me blepomena. But if you emphasize the ta me blepomena, you focus on them, you're going to de-emphasize the ta blepomena. You need to understand that when you are negative, your volition is negative towards God or towards something, you're immediately positive towards something else. If you're negative towards God and His doctrine, you're going to be positive towards BS ideas, evil ideas. If you're negative towards His doctrine, you're going to be positive towards satanic viewpoint, human viewpoint, do-good ideas, altruistic ideas, things about how to better this world and how to improve yourself, about wellness and how to self-improvement and all these things. When you're negative towards doctrine, you're going to be positive towards something else. Well, guess what? When you're positive towards ta me blepomena, you're going to, well, not negative, but you're going to de-emphasize the ta blepomena, the seen things. But if you emphasize the ta blepomena, you're going to de-emphasize the ta me blepomena. What is the only way to emphasize the things not seen? By seeing the one who's invisible. And you only accomplish this by means of the daily functional gap, to the point of developing a personal sense of destiny. Once you have that personal sense of destiny, this becomes easier. So point 10, to fail to focus on the things not seen and de-emphasize the things seen is to emphasize the things seen over the things not seen. Point 11, to emphasize the things seen is to allow them to have control over your daily decisions, your contentment, your happiness, your tranquility, and your life in general. So, these wonderful things, ta blepomena, the things seen, to emphasize them, to emphasize them means that they have a great control over your life. And keep in mind that table pomena, the things seen, is not something necessarily evil. They could be normal things, normal functions of life. They could have to do with friendships, and wonderful friendships, since you were kindergarten people, kindergartners or preschoolers. They could be deal with I don't know, relationships and family. There's great relationship between father and son. They could deal with things having to do with a legitimate job, a workplace. And yet all these things can become a distraction if you emphasize them instead of emphasizing the tame pomena. And so if to the point that you emphasize them, it means that you surrender your happiness, surrender your life almost to these things. You are a slave to your circumstances. You are now a slave to your environment. Have you heard people talk about the environment all the time? And that because of my environment, I'm this way. And you know what? I wanted to be this great person, but my environment did not allow me to. That's a person who's just admitting that he's a slave to his environment. We know that environment is not the issue in the plan of God, but rather, in the plan of God, regeneration is the issue. You have to get into the plan, and when you advance in the system, you are not subject to the environment. Whatever the trends are, whatever they are, you are subject to the plan of God inside the divine power sphere. Well, but if you emphasize the seen things, you become a slave to them, and they have a great power over you. They have a great power over your daily decisions. Okay. So point 11, to emphasize the things seen is to allow them to have control over your daily decisions, contentment, happiness, tranquility, and your life in general. They're not bad things. Once again, I'm saying you don't have to go on and leave these things, abandon anything. Do not abandon anything before time. God is the one's going to decide if there needs to be any sort of abandonment, any sort of walking away, department or departure. 12, point 12. Herein, the things seen become a source of stress, volatility, and misery. Where you emphasize that things seen, now these things become a source of stress, of misery, great unhappiness. You were probably one of those, those mothers that had all their, have the children who are already all grown up, and the grown-up children come and go have breakfast in your house. They still visit you. You're very much sought after by your children who are already all grown up and married, and they still go and eat food, and you have this great family fellowship as you all get together and eat and laugh, and then they finally all take off and they go to work, and then you just feel this sense of contentment because your children still visit you. But what happens when things start going bad and there's a problem, there's a discord between some of them, and they start fighting, they start arguing, and one of them takes off, and then this one stays, and now there's factions in between your children, and so now that great happiness has gone to the trash. Well, not to the trash entirely, but now this is going to become a great source of misery for you. So, point 13. Therefore, the great irony. The believer has failed to acquire capacity to enjoy the things seen by not focusing on the things not seen. So in order to acquire capacity for the things seen, you have to focus on the things not seen. That is the only way to acquire capacity. How do you focus on the things not seen? Through the daily function of gap, before you develop a personal sense of destiny. This is the great irony here. The things seen, those things that, blepo, that does not require much for you to see them. They're right there in front of your face. You have no capacity for them unless you focus on the things not seen, first of all. Point 14. The only way to acquire capacity for the things seen is to be able to see the invisible one to the point of focusing on the things not seen. That's the only way to acquire capacity. You have to be able to hora o the auratos. You see, when you finally can see the auratos, this becomes much easier. You can see the things not seen easier. You can focus on that promise, and you take action. You're motivated. And people wonder, why did you leave that? Why did you do this? Oh my gosh, you're so stupid. Why did you leave that? You had everything going for you. You had that house for you. You had that job position. You had that wonderful title, whatever, etc. You could have been the next prince. I don't know. You could have been the next executive of, I don't know, something. But you were able to see the one who was invisible, to the point that you're seeing the things not seen becomes easy, very easy. So point 14, the only way to acquire capacity for the things seen is to be able to see the invisible one, to the point of focusing on the things not seen. This is the capacity right here. Point 15. Once the believer receives a specific category of things not seen, they are no longer things not seen. They have become things seen, for he has received them. What? Yes. Let me see this right here. Okay. Again. Point 15. Once the believer receives a specific category of things not seen, they are no longer things not seen. They have become things seen, for he has received them. So, a specific category of things not seen is, say, a specific paragraph of your super grace blessings in time. Say that you finally receive them. Ta me blepomena has now become a specific category of ta blepomena. You receive them, they are now seen. Ta me blepomena has now become ta blepomena as these super grace blessings, as G2 super grace blessings. So they are no longer things not seen. They are now under the category of things seen. Therefore, confident expectation, hope is no longer required to be able to focus on them. For hope is only for the things that are not seen, not for the things seen. So once you receive that super grace blessings, they are wonderful, yes, but they are now categories of things seen. I'm not going to put them all the way over here yet, because these are specific different types of things seen. These are wonderful. Okay. Point 15, once the believer receives a specific category of things not seen, they are no longer things not seen. They have become things seen, for he has received them. Point 16, once the believer receives a specific category of things not seen, he then focuses on a new category of things not seen. Okay, so yes, you were focusing this whole time because you have a personal sense of destiny. You were focusing on this, the things not seen, but then you receive a specific category of super grace blessings. They are no longer things not seen, but things seen. Okay, but now you continue focusing on the things not seen. You are still required to focus on the things not seen. Not on the things seen anymore, but on the things not seen. How do you do that? By focusing, by seeing the one who is invisible. Ahorrao, seeing the ahorratos. And this is in, what is it? In Romans chapter 8, verse 24. For with reference to this hope we were saved. What is the hope? Phase 3 doctrine, the redemption of the bodies. This is the resurrection body. So with reference to this hope, we were saved. But hope that is seen is no hope at all. This is verse 24. Let's look. Look, the same word, blepe. So hope seen is not hope. For who hopes for what he sees? So in other words, that so-called hope that you're hoping for is already seen, and is not hope. This is what the Bible is defining. In order for something to be considered hoping for, it needs to be something not seen. Once it is seen, this requires no longer that function of hope. Remember, hope is a confident expectation. For who hopes for things for what he sees? And then verse 15, and if we hope for what we do not see, so now, yes, if we have a confident expectation for what we do not see, we desirously anticipate it through hupomones. This is patient endurance. So you seek it desirously. You look forward to it, but through the patient endurance, the application of Bible doctrine. So do you understand this? But hope that is seen as no hope at all. Who hopes for what they already have? But if we hope for what we do not yet have, we wait for it patiently. That was the NIV's translation.